Today I'm going to show you how you can replace your standard outlet with a GFI protected outlet. You can start by turning off the power at the source. Go to your breaker box, find the right breaker, and turn it off. You can check to see that the power is off by using a non-contact voltage tester. I have a Klein Tools one, it works really well. If it shows green, that means there's no power, but if it shows red, that means there is power. You need to stop and go back to the breaker and make sure that your power's off. So once you start unscrewing, you can pull the outlet out, and you'll notice 3 different wires. There's a black wire, a white wire, and a copper wire. The copper wire might also appear as a green wire. The black wire is the hot wire, white is neutral, and copper is a ground wire. So at this point, since your power's off, it doesn't really matter which one you start with. You can just disconnect all of them by unscrewing the bolts on the sides. You don't have to unscrew them all the way. They just kind of come out to a certain point, and you can loosen the wires and take them out from there. So why am I swapping this out for a GFI outlet? Because GFI outlets are much safer, and I'm installing this near a spot in my laundry room where there's actually some water, and so it's always a good idea to install a GFI outlet when your outlet is near water, such as like a bathroom or something like that. GFI outlets contain a sensor on the inside that monitors the flow of electrical current. And when it senses a ground fault, it has an internal switch that shuts off the flow of electricity to the outlet. So what that means is if water gets in there, rather than that electrical current possibly traveling to you and harming you, the GFI is going to sense it before anything happens and cut the flow of electricity. So it's a really awesome safety feature that you can add to your home. You'll notice there's a little bit of tape on there covering the additional ports for additional wires. And I'm going to leave that on because I'm not adding any outlets to this. But that's a really nice feature that the GFI comes with. You can actually add additional outlets downstream from the GFI. And a lot of electricians will call those slave outlets. Any slave outlet that senses a ground fault is also going to turn off because it's connected to the GFI. So really awesome feature there. But like I said, I'm only going to use the top ones because this is a standalone outlet. Okay, so we are ready to reattach our wires. You're going to add a curve to your wire, and then the important thing is that the wire wraps around clockwise. And the reason that's important is because when you start tightening down the bolt, you'll see the wire is going to actually sort of kind of pull because it's wrapping in the same direction as the bolt. If you wrap it around the other way, you might make a connection, but it might be a faulty connection. So it's really important that you kind of wrap this the correct direction. Anytime a wire looks like it could possibly break, you want to trim that down. I'm going to trim this with my wire trimmers and select the correct gauge. This is 12 gauge wire, so I'm going to find the 12 gauge spot and I'm going to strip that down so I have perfectly brand new wire, and I'm going to put another bend in that. Now that I got my bend, I can add this to the proper side. Black always goes to the brass bolt, while the neutral white wire always goes to the silver bolt. So once that's in there, you can tighten it down. And there's notches so that you can actually, if you want to be really efficient, you can strip more wire and send that wire out towards the back. I don't necessarily always do that. It just adds to the security of the wire so that it's not ever going to come loose. But as long as it's wrapped mostly around that nut, around that bolt, you should be fine. You might also have to tug on the wire because as you tighten down the bolt, the wire could come loose if it's not under there properly. So once everything's lined up, make sure your wires are in a position so that when you slide this back in, they're not going to kink or break the connections that you just made. And you can tighten it up. Tighten that back down, and we're all set. So now that I have it in, I can test the GFI And when you press on the red button, you can see that it's active with a green light. And then the test is actually testing a ground fault, so you can see it breaking. So I'm going to put a plate on, and I'm going to go back out to my breaker box and turn the power back on, and I'm all set.